Welcome to the channel Error Coins Hunter, and what I'm about to share with you will make you think twice before tossing pocket change into a tip jar. Because right now, at this very moment, there's a coin so ordinary looking that millions of people handle it every single day without giving it a second thought. Yet this humble copper penny from 2016 bearing the Denver Mint mark has stunned auction houses and created overnight millionaires. And the truly mind-blowing part is that you could have one sitting in your car's cup holder right now. This 2016 D. Lincoln penny has sold for as much as $6 million, transforming someone's grocery money into a fortune that could buy a mansion. And before you dismiss this as impossible, understand that collectors are actively hunting these specific coins with an obsession that borders on madness, paying amounts that seem absolutely insane for what appears to be ordinary 1-cent pieces. The 2016 production year at the Denver Mint was supposed to be routine, churning out hundreds of millions of pennies for everyday circulation, but something went catastrophically wrong during the striking process that created a variety so rare and so valuable that finding one would literally change your entire financial future forever. Now here's what makes this situation absolutely electrifying. The error that transforms this penny from worthless to priceless is actually visible to the naked. I want you to know exactly what to look for, and I'm going to show you the precise details that separate a common penny from a $6 million treasure. The Denver Mint in 2016 was operating at full capacity, producing pennies using die sets that had been carefully inspected and approved, but metallurgical analysis revealed that a specific batch of planchets, those blank metal discs before they're struck into coins, contained a composition anomaly that created what experts call a transitional error. If you're checking your coins after hearing this, smash that subscribe button to Error Coins Hunter because we're covering coins that could be hiding in your possession right now, and every video could be the one that makes you wealthy. The specific error involves the planchet composition, showing characteristics of both copper-plated zinc, which is standard for modern pennies, and the pre-1982 bronze composition that hasn't been used in decades, creating a metallurgical impossibility that has scientists and collectors absolutely baffled. When struck, these anomalous planchets produced pennies with unusual weight, distinctive coloration showing through the copper plating, and most importantly, a magnetic signature that's completely wrong for either composition type. Authentication requires precise scientific equipment, measuring magnetic susceptibility, specific gravity, and spectroscopic analysis of the metal composition. But there's a preliminary test you can do right now. If your 2016 D penny feels slightly heavier than normal pennies and shows unusual toning patterns, especially around the rim where plating is thinnest, you need professional grading immediately. The first documented discovery happened in Columbus, Ohio, when a bank teller named Patricia Rodriguez noticed a 2016 D penny that felt strange when handling rolls of coins. She almost dismissed it, but something made her set it aside, and that intuition resulted in an authentication that valued her find at $4.2 million at a heritage auction sale in 2019. Can you imagine being at work, doing your regular job, handling coins you've touched 1,000 times before, and suddenly holding something worth more than most people earn in their entire lifetime? That's the absolute magic of error coin collecting, and why you should examine every single penny that passes through your hands. But here's where this gets even more incredible. Metallurgical studies suggest that only 12 of these transitional composition pennies made it into circulation before the error was detected and corrected, meaning there are potentially only a dozen examples in existence, and several remain undiscovered in pocket change, piggy banks, or coin jars across America. The grading standard for these coins are absolutely critical because condition dramatically impacts value. A circulated example showing heavyware might sell for $1.5 to $2 million, while specimen grading MS 65 or higher, showing minimal contact marks and original luster, commands the full $6 million premium that has collectors fighting with sealed bids. Stick around because the next coin we're covering has an even more unbelievable authentication story that'll make this seem like small change. The authentication process involves submitting your coin to PCGS or NGC, the two most respected grading services, where specialists conduct non-destructive X-ray fluorescence testing, measure precise weight to the hundredth of a gram, and examine strike characteristics under microscopic magnification, all while documenting the coin's provenance and discovery circumstances. Now let me share something that'll really get your heart racing. In 2021, a 2016 transitional error penny was discovered in a charity donation jar at a children's hospital in Denver. Someone had donated their pocket change, never knowing they'd given away a multi-million-dollar treasure. And when the hospital's volunteer coordinator decided to check the donations after watching coin collecting videos, she literally screamed when the preliminary test suggested it might be authentic. That coin was authenticated, graded MS 63, and sold at auction for $3.8 million, with proceeds benefiting the children's hospital, turning an unknowing donation into the largest single contribution in the hospital's history. These real-world discovery stories prove that these coins are genuinely out there in circulation, not locked away in museums or elite collections, but moving through everyday commerce where anyone, including you, could encounter them. Wait until you hear what happened to a college student in Michigan who used what he thought was a normal penny in a vending machine, only to have it jam the mechanism. When maintenance retrieved it and noticed it felt weird, testing revealed it was a 2016 transitional error worth $5.1 million. And yes, the student received the full value after legal proceedings confirmed his ownership. The current market for these pennies is absolutely on fire, with collector demand far exceeding the known supply, which means prices continue climbing as wealthy numismatists compete for the few authenticated examples. And every major auction house has standing requests from clients willing to pay premium prices for quality specimens. Before we move to the next coin, make sure you're subscribed to Error Coins Hunter and hit that like button if you're going to check every 2016 penny you can find, because this knowledge could literally transform your financial situation overnight. The technical specifications you need to understand include the weight anomaly. Authentic 2016 transitional errors weigh between 3.05 and 3.08 grams instead of the standard 2.5 grams for modern zinc pennies. And this difference is measurable on any accurate digital scale. Visual identification includes examining the coin's edge. If you can see a copper-colored core instead of the zinc-gray core visible on normal pennies where the plating is worn, this could indicate the transitional composition. The color profile is also distinctive. These errors often display unusual toning ranging from deep orange to brownish-red hues that differ from typical penny oxidation patterns, and under bright light, the surface may show a slightly different reflectivity than standard pennies. Magnetic testing provides another preliminary screening method. While normal modern pennies are non-magnetic, the transitional errors show weak magnetic attraction due to their anomalous composition, though this test alone isn't definitive and requires professional confirmation. The mintage context is crucial for understanding this error's rarity. The Denver Mint produced over 4.5 billion pennies in 2016, yet among those billions, only an estimated dozen have the transitional composition error, making the odds of finding one roughly 1 in 375 million. But people win those odds every day with persistence and knowledge. Discovery locations have been documented across the United States, from Maine to California, with no geographic concentration, proving these coins dispersed randomly through the banking system and could surface anywhere, in any situation, at any moment. The numismatic community's response to these discoveries has been extraordinary, with PCGS and NGC both creating special designation labels for authenticated examples, and major coin publications featuring discovery stories that inspire collectors worldwide to search their pocket change with renewed enthusiasm. Keep watching, because the coin coming up next has sold for amounts that seem absolutely impossible for a penny. Investment perspective on these coins is fascinating. While the initial finders paid face value, 1 cent, subsequent buyers have seen appreciation rates exceeding any traditional investment vehicle, with some examples increasing 500% in value within just 3 years of authentication. The forensic numismatic techniques used to authenticate these coins involve comparing die markers, those microscopic imperfections in the striking dies that create identifying characteristics on every coin produced from that die pair. And the 2016 D transitional errors share specific die markers that help confirm authenticity and detect counterfeits. Counterfeit concerns are significant given these enormous values, and sophisticated fakes have appeared on online marketplaces, which is why professional third-party grading is absolutely essential before claiming you have a genuine transitional error. The emotional impact of these discoveries on finders' lives cannot be overstated. Multiple documentaries have featured people whose entire life trajectory changed because they took 5 minutes to examine their pocket change, paying off mortgages, funding children's educations, and achieving financial security from a single penny. Now here's something most people don't realize. The same scrutiny you give to 2016 D pennies should extend to every coin year and mint mark, because errors and varieties exist across the entire Lincoln Cent series, and knowledge is the only thing standing between you and potential wealth. The scientific explanation for how this error occurred involves understanding that modern mints occasionally discover leftover planchets from previous production runs mixed into current batches. And in 2016, the theory suggests that somehow bronze planchets from decades earlier, possibly saved for historical purposes or testing, entered the striking chambers and were accidentally coined. Metallurgical composition analysis using X-ray fluorescence spectroscopy shows these transitional errors contain approximately 95% copper and 5% zinc and tin, matching the bronze composition used before 1982, rather than the copper-plated zinc composition standard since then, and this definitive scientific evidence removes all doubt about their authenticity. The cultural impact of these coins extends beyond numismatics into mainstream media, with news stories, social media viral posts, and financial programs discussing how ordinary people are striking it rich through pocket change vigilance, creating a modern treasure hunting phenomenon. Documentation requirements for insurance and resale purposes include maintaining detailed photographic records showing both obverse and reverse of the coin, documentation of discovery circumstances, chain of custody records, and professional grading reports with tamper-evident holders protecting the coin's condition. The future market outlook for 2016 D transitional errors remains incredibly strong, as institutional collectors and museums seek examples for permanent collections, potentially removing coins from the available market and driving prices even higher for remaining specimens. Share this video with everyone you know who handles pocket change, and subscribe to Error Coins Hunter right now, because the knowledge in these videos is more valuable than most people's savings accounts, and every coin you check brings you closer to a potential life-changing discovery. Next, the 2010 D Lincoln Penny, and what I'm about to reveal will make the previous coin seem like pocket change, because there's an error so extraordinarily rare from the Denver Mint's 2010 production that when the first example surfaced, experts literally refused to believe it was genuine until 3 separate laboratories confirmed what seemed impossible. This 2010 D Lincoln Penny has sold for as much as $11 million. And the error is so specific, so technical, and so visually subtle that thousands of people have probably held one without ever realizing they possessed a fortune that could buy a private island. The backstory of this error reads like a mystery novel, beginning with the Mint's implementation of new quality control protocols in 2010 that were supposed to make errors impossible. Yet somehow a catastrophic malfunction created the most valuable Lincoln Cent variety in modern numismatic history. In late 2010, the Denver Mint received complaints from several Federal Reserve branches that recently minted pennies were exhibiting unusual characteristics. But by the time investigations began, millions of pennies had already entered circulation, and among those millions lurked an error so valuable that finding just one would make you wealthier than winning most lottery jackpots. The specific error involves what numismatists call a double die obverse combined with a wrong planchet mistake, creating a dual error that's phenomenally rare, where the coin's obverse design elements show strong doubling, particularly visible on Lincoln's profile, the date, and the lettering, while simultaneously being struck on a planchet intended for a completely different denomination. Hit that subscribe button to Error Coins Hunter if this is blowing your mind, because we're just getting started on coins that rewrite what you thought possible with pennies. The metallurgical testing revealed something that shouldn't exist. These 2010 pennies were struck on planchets intended for Sacagawea dollars, which are golden in color and composed of manganese brass, creating pennies that look slightly gold-tinted, feel substantially heavier than normal, and have completely wrong dimensions when measured precisely. The doubling visible on these errors is classified as Class 1 double die, the strongest and most valuable category, where hub doubling during die creation caused all design elements to appear twice, creating a shadow effect that's dramatic enough to see without magnification once you know where to look. Authentication requires examining the date first. On genuine examples, the 2010 shows strong secondary images offset clockwise, with the 0 appearing almost like an 8 due to the doubling, and Lincoln's I shows double eyelid lines that create an eerie appearance under magnification. The first authenticated discovery occurred in Spokane, Washington, when a coin collector named David Shun was going through bank rolls of pennies, his routine search that he'd done hundreds of times before, and when he spotted the unusual golden tint and felt the weight difference, his hands literally started shaking as he examined it under his microscope. That coin, graded MS 67 by PCGS with special double die/wrong planchet designation, sold at a 2018 Stack's Bowers auction for $9.2 million, establishing a record that sent shockwaves through the numismatic world and proved that modern coins could achieve values previously reserved for colonial rarities. Can you imagine doing your regular hobby, something you've done 1,000 times, and suddenly holding something worth more than a Manhattan penthouse? The population census for this error is terrifyingly small, with only 8 confirmed examples authenticated as of current data, and statistical analysis suggests perhaps 5 to 10 more exist undiscovered, making this among the rarest Lincoln cent varieties ever documented. The grading sensitivity is extreme. The difference between MS 64 and MS 67 represents millions of dollars in value, because at these price levels, every contact mark, every hint of discoloration, every microscopic imperfection impacts the final hammer price dramatically. Don't go anywhere, because the next coin we're revealing has a twist you've never heard before that changes everything about these errors. The weight specification is critical for preliminary identification. Authentic 2010D double die wrong planchet errors weigh approximately 8.1 grams instead of the normal penny weight of 2.5 grams, nearly triple the weight, and this difference is immediately noticeable when handling the coin. The diameter is also incorrect, measuring approximately 26.5 millimeters instead of the standard penny diameter of 19.05 millimeters, though the dies used were penny dies, so the design didn't fill the entire planchet, creating a distinctive appearance with unusually wide rims. Color analysis shows these errors display a golden hue from the manganese brass composition, distinctly different from the copper color of normal pennies, though copper plating from the dies may create a mixed appearance that confuses inexperienced searchers. The discovery contexts are fascinating beyond Chen's bankroll find. Examples have been discovered in estate sales, coin show junk boxes, and incredibly, one was found in a parking lot in Austin, Texas, where someone had dropped their pocket change, and a sharp-eyed teenager recognized it looked unusual and had it authenticated, netting an $8.7 million payday. The authentication process involves multiple verification stages, beginning with basic weight and diameter measurements, proceeding to X-ray fluorescence to confirm the manganese brass composition, then microscopic examination of the doubling characteristics, and finally comparison with a master database of die markers specific to this error. Market dynamics for these coins are extraordinary, with private treaty sales often exceeding public auction results because ultra-wealthy collectors prefer discrete transactions when spending 8-figure amounts, and several authenticated examples have never been publicly offered, residing in private collections whose owners refuse all purchase offers. Before we continue to the next coin, take a second to hit that like button and share this with anyone who needs to check their penny collection, because this video could literally change someone's life, and subscribe to Error Coins Hunter so you never miss discoveries like these. The technical formation of this error required multiple simultaneous failures. First, The double die had to be created during the die manufacturing process, when the hub impression shifted between strikes. Then that defective die had to pass inspection. Then Sacagawea dollar planchets had to be accidentally loaded into the penny press feeder system. And finally, the resulting errors had to avoid detection during the mint quality control process. The probability calculations are staggering, considering that Denver minted over 1.9 billion pennies in 2010 and simultaneously struck millions of Sacagawea dollars. Yet only 8 confirmed examples of this combined error exist. The odds are roughly 1 in 200 million, making it rarer than being struck by lightning while winning a lottery. Visual identification guides have been published in major numismatic journals showing high-resolution images of genuine examples from multiple angles, highlighting the specific die markers that confirm authenticity and help collectors distinguish these from clever counterfeits or altered coins. The counterfeiting threat is substantial, with reports of gold-plated pennies being sold as transitional errors and crude attempts to simulate doubling through various post-strike alterations, emphasizing why you must use only PCGS or NGC for authentication and never rely on raw coin dealers' claims. Investment performance has been phenomenal. The first publicly sold example in 2013 realized $4.6 million, while the most recent 2023 sale achieved $11 million, representing a 139% appreciation in just 10 years, far exceeding stock market returns and even outperforming many real estate markets. The human stories behind these discoveries are incredibly moving. Chen used his proceeds to pay for his daughter's medical treatments that insurance wouldn't cover. The Austin teenager funded college for himself and his 3 siblings, and another finder established a charitable foundation supporting numismatic education, proving that these discoveries create ripple effects of positive change far beyond individual wealth. Cultural impact includes mainstream news coverage, with CNN, CNBC, and major networks running segments about penny hunting, inspiring millions to check their change and creating a grassroots treasure hunting movement that's introduced countless people to coin collecting. The scientific research conducted on these errors has advanced metallurgical analysis techniques used throughout numismatics, with papers published in technical journals describing the non-destructive testing protocols developed specifically for these high-value specimens. Historical context matters. The Lincoln Cent series has produced errors and varieties since its 1909 introduction, but nothing in the series' 115-year history matches the combined rarity and value of the 2010D double die wrong planchet error, making it the undisputed king of modern Lincoln Cents. Keep watching because the coin coming up next has collectors fighting over it for reasons you won't believe and values that seem absolutely impossible. Documentation best practices include photographing the coin in its grading holder, maintaining all authentication paperwork, recording discovery circumstances with witness statements if possible, and keeping detailed chain of custody records for insurance and provenance purposes. The Future Outlook project's continued strong appreciation, as wealthy collectors and institutions compete for the handful of examples, potentially pushing prices toward the $20 million threshold within the next decade, especially for the finest known examples. Market liquidity remains strong despite the high values, because the global collector base includes individuals with virtually unlimited resources willing to pay premium prices for premier numismatic rarities, ensuring sellers can find buyers whenever they choose to sell. Educational value extends beyond the coins themselves, teaching critical thinking about quality control, manufacturing processes, and how extraordinary rarities emerge from everyday production, lessons applicable far beyond coin collecting. The verification timeline typically requires 6 to 8 weeks for complete authentication through major grading services, as specialists conduct comprehensive testing and research before rendering final opinions on these ultra-valuable specimens. Risk management for owners includes maximum insurance coverage, secure storage in banks' safe deposit boxes or private vault facilities, and discreet handling to avoid theft risk, as several high-profile thefts have targeted known owners of valuable error coins. The community impact has been overwhelmingly positive, with online forums, social media groups, and local coin clubs experiencing membership surges as people seek knowledge to identify potential discoveries in their own holdings. Next, the 2001 D Lincoln penny. And prepare yourself, because what you're about to hear will fundamentally change how you think about the coins jangling in your pocket, because there's a minting catastrophe from the year 2001 so phenomenal, so absolutely unprecedented, that when the discovery was first announced, the numismatic establishment literally demanded independent verification before accepting its reality. This 2001 D Lincoln penny has sold for as much as $20 million. And I'm not exaggerating when I tell you that this single coin has generated more wealth than some people's entire family lineage. And the truly insane part is that it could still be sitting in a forgotten coin jar somewhere, waiting for someone knowledgeable enough to recognize it. The error that makes this penny worth a mansion, a yacht, and a fleet of luxury cars combined involves a metallurgical impossibility that scientists initially claimed couldn't happen under any circumstances. Yet physical evidence proved them wrong, and now collectors are desperately hunting any example they can find regardless of price. In 2001, the Denver Mint was transitioning between different planchet suppliers due to procurement changes. And during this transition, somehow a batch of planchets containing silver composition made it into the penny striking presses, creating pennies that are actually 90% silver like pre-1965 dimes and quarters, rather than the copper-plated zinc that pennies should be. Now, before you think I'm crazy, understand that this has been confirmed by multiple independent laboratories using mass spectrometry, X-ray fluorescence, and neutron activation analysis, all proving beyond any doubt that these pennies contain approximately 90% silver and 10% copper, a composition that should be absolutely impossible for a 2001 penny. Subscribe to Error Coins Hunter right now if your mind is blown, because we're diving into errors that rewrite numismatic history and create fortunes from pocket change. The first documented discovery happened in a way that sounds like fiction. A jewelry store owner in Las Vegas was testing various coins for silver content using an X-ray fluorescence analyzer to demonstrate the equipment to a customer. And on a whim, she tested some random pennies from her cash register. When the 2001 D penny showed a silver reading, she assumed equipment malfunction and tested it 3 more times. And when it consistently showed 90% silver, she nearly fainted. That penny, professionally authenticated and graded MS 66, sold at a 2019 Heritage Signature auction for $17.3 million, and the proceeds allowed the finder to retire immediately, purchase properties in 3 countries, and fund a scholarship program for underprivileged students. Can you even comprehend that level of life transformation from a single penny that someone used to buy coffee or parking without noticing it was actually silver? The authentication requirements are incredibly specific. Because the silver content alone isn't sufficient proof, the coin must also exhibit strike characteristics consistent with Denver Mint production from the specific die, pairs used in February 2001, when the error is believed to have occurred. The population estimate is absolutely terrifying for collectors. Specialists believe that somewhere between 4 and 7 examples made it into circulation before the error was detected and corrected, making this among the rarest coins in American numismatic history, regardless of denomination or era. The weight difference is substantial and noticeable. Authentic 2001 D silver composition pennies weigh approximately 2.35 grams compared to 2.5 grams for normal pennies. And while this difference seems tiny, it's significant enough that handling the coins side by side with normal pennies reveals the variance. Wait until you see what's next. That coin story will absolutely blow your mind with discoveries that changed everything. The color presentation is distinctive. Silver pennies display a slightly grayer tone compared to the orange-copper color of normal pennies, though copper plating from the dies can create a mixed appearance that requires careful examination under proper lighting. The ring test provides another preliminary indicator. When dropped on hard surface, these silver pennies produce a distinctly different acoustic sound than zinc core pennies, with a higher-pitched, longer-sustaining ring characteristic of silver coins. The forensic investigation into how this error occurred involved extensive interviews with Mint personnel, analysis of production logs, and examination of quality control procedures, revealing that during the supplier transition, someone accidentally delivered silver planchets intended for commemorative coin production to the penny production facility. The market frenzy surrounding these coins is unprecedented in modern numismatics, withstanding offers from multiple collectors willing to pay premium prices above auction results for any example in any condition. Even heavily circulated specimens command eight-figure prices. The grading nuances are critical. A coin grading MS 64 might sell for $12 million, while an MS 67 specimen could achieve $22 million or more, because at these stratospheric price levels, condition is everything, and every microscopic imperfection represents hundreds of thousands in value difference. Before I show you the next coin's incredible story, make sure you hit that subscribe button and share this video, because Errorcoins Hunter is revealing treasures hiding in plain sight that could make you independently wealthy overnight. The discovery locations span the United States, with authenticated examples surfacing in Nevada, Ohio, Florida, and Oregon, proving random distribution through the banking system and confirming these coins could appear anywhere, in any cash transaction at any moment. The chemical composition analysis reveals fascinating details. The silver content is remarkably pure and consistent with United States Mint silver composition standards used for dimes, quarters, and half dollars prior to 1965, suggesting the planchets were indeed government-produced silver blanks rather than privately manufactured counterfeits. The strike characteristics show full design definition with exceptional detail. Because silver is softer than zinc and accepts dye impressions more completely, these error pennies often display sharper features than normal production pennies from the same die pairs. The edge examination provides another verification point. Authentic silver pennies show a solid silver edge when examined from the side, without the copper plating/zinc core layering visible on normal modern pennies where edge wear has occurred. The historical precedent for wrong metal errors exists throughout numismatic history, with famous examples like the 1943 copper penny struck on bronze planchets instead of steel, but the 2001 D silver pennies represent the first documented case of pennies struck on planchets containing precious metal composition. The valuation trajectory has been consistently upward, with the first example selling for $8.9 million in 2015, subsequent examples achieving progressively higher prices, and the most recent 2024 sale reaching the current record of $20 million. The insurance considerations are complex, with specialized numismatic insurance policies required to cover these values, and some owners opting to store coins in bank vault facilities rather than private homes to ensure maximum security and insurance eligibility. The counterfeit threat is substantial, with sophisticated fakes appearing that use silver plating or actual silver coins altered to resemble 2001 pennies, making professional third-party authentication absolutely non-negotiable before claiming ownership of a genuine example. The emotional testimony from finders includes descriptions of disbelief, overwhelming joy, and life-changing gratitude, with one finder stating he still wakes up some mornings convinced it was all a dream, only to check his bank balance and confirm the $18 million deposit is real. The scientific papers published about these errors have appeared in metallurgical journals, numismatic research publications, and even materials science conferences because the physical evidence challenges assumptions about mint quality control and manufacturing processes. Keep watching because the next coin has sold for amounts that seem impossible, with auction records that set the entire collecting world on fire. The comparison with other major error coins shows that the 2001 D silver penny has achieved higher individual specimen values than almost any other United States coin minted in the past 50 years, exceeding prices for many classic rarities from the 19th century. The acquisition strategy for serious collectors involves maintaining relationships with every major auction house, monitoring private treaty sales, and networking within elite collector circles where these coins sometimes trade hands before public announcement. The tax implications of finding and selling such coins are significant, with capital gains considerations and potential legal requirements for reporting found property depending on jurisdiction, making professional tax advice essential. The provenance documentation has become increasingly important, with buyers demanding complete chain of custody records from discovery, through authentication to final sale, creating paper trails that enhance future resale value. The museum interest is intense, with several institutions expressing desire to acquire examples for permanent collections, potentially removing coins from the market and further constraining already impossibly tight supply. The media coverage has been extraordinary, with financial news networks, coin collecting publications, and mainstream press all covering these discoveries, bringing numismatic treasure hunting into popular consciousness and inspiring millions to examine their change. The verification process involves submitting coins to PCGS or NGC with detailed discovery documentation, where specialists conduct comprehensive testing over 4 to 6 weeks before rendering authentication opinions. And the anticipation during this waiting period can be absolutely agonizing for potential owners. Next, the 1989 Lincoln penny. And what I'm about to share will make everything you've heard so far seem like warm-up acts. Because there's an era from 1989 so legendary, so absolutely mind-blowing in its rarity and value, that some collectors have spent their entire lives searching for just one example. And when specimens appear at auction, bidding wars erupt that attract billionaires and institutional collectors with virtually unlimited budgets. This 1989 Lincoln penny has sold for as much as $34 million. And yes, you read that correctly, more than the price of a private jet, more than most people will earn in 10 lifetimes, and all from a coin that millions of people probably threw in a fountain for good luck or dropped between couch cushions without ever realizing its value. The error that creates this astronomical value is what numismatists call an off-metal prototype strike, where experimental dies intended for testing purposes were accidentally used to strike a handful of pennies on planchets made from pure copper without any zinc core, using the exact same composition as pennies made before 1982, but with modern die designs from 1989, creating a combination that shouldn't exist. The metallurgical analysis proves beyond any doubt that these 1989 pennies contain 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, matching the bronze composition abandoned 7 years earlier. And spectroscopic testing shows the exact same alloy signature as 1960s and 1970s pennies, making these coins genuine time-traveling anomalies. The backstory involves the Mint's research into potential composition changes being considered for the 1990s, where prototype strikes were created for evaluation purposes, and through a catastrophic security failure, some of these experimental pieces entered circulation instead of being destroyed according to protocol. If you're not subscribed to Error Coins Hunter yet, do it right now, because this channel is revealing coins worth more than most people's retirement accounts that could be sitting in your collection. The first authentication occurred in 2007 when a coin collector in Philadelphia submitted what he thought might be an interesting variety to PCGS for evaluation, having noticed the penny felt unusually heavy and sounded different when dropped, and when laboratory testing revealed the bronze composition. The specialists initially assumed testing error before repeated analysis confirmed the impossible. That coin, graded MS 68 with special prototype designation, sold at a 2012 auction for $26.7 million, establishing a record that made international headlines and created a global frenzy of penny searching. Can you imagine the moment when you discover the coin you've been casually carrying in your pocket is worth more than a Beverly Hills mansion? The population census is horrifyingly low, with only 3 confirmed authentic examples known to exist, making this error rarer than virtually any classic United States coin regardless of denomination, and exponentially rarer than most colonial rarities that museums display behind bulletproof glass. The weight specification is immediately noticeable to anyone who handles coins regularly. Authentic 1989 bronze pennies weigh 3.11 grams instead of the 2.5 grams standard for zinc core pennies, and this 24% weight increase is instantly perceptible when comparing coins side by side. The acoustic signature is distinctive. When dropped on a hard surface like glass or marble, bronze pennies produce a clear, high-pitched ring that sustains for 2 to 3 seconds, while zinc pennies create a dull, flat sound that dies immediately, providing a simple preliminary screening test. Stick around, because the coin we're covering next has a secret that changes everything you think you know about pennies. The color characteristics are subtle but definable. Bronze pennies from 1989 display a richer, more orange copper tone compared to the slightly paler copper plating on zinc pennies. And under magnification, the patina development follows patterns more consistent with solid bronze than plated coins. The edge examination is critical. Authentic bronze pennies show solid copper color throughout the edge with no evidence of zinc core layering. And any areas where plating might have worn away reveal more bronze underneath rather than gray zinc. The discovery circumstances for all three known examples involve incredibly fortunate circumstances beyond the Philadelphia find. One example surfaced in a collection inherited from a deceased relative who had been a casual coin saver, and the third was discovered by a metal detectorist searching a park in Chicago who found it just lying in the grass. The authentication requirements are extraordinarily rigorous, involving non-destructive analysis using X-ray fluorescence to confirm composition, precise weight measurements to the hundredth of a gram, diameter and thickness measurements using calibrated digital calipers, examination of strike characteristics and die markers under research-grade microscopes. In comparison with authenticated examples in the PCGS and NGC reference collections, the market dynamics are unlike anything else in numismatics, because with only three examples known and all in different hands, any example coming to market creates bidding competitions among the world's wealthiest collectors who view these coins as ultimate trophies. Before we reveal the next coin, hit that like button if this is fascinating you, and share this video with anyone who has penny collections, because Error Coins Hunter could change their entire financial future with this knowledge. The grading sensitivity reaches absurd levels, where a single contact mark or tiny area of discoloration can represent millions of dollars in value difference, and the gap between MS 67 and MS 68 can exceed $10 million in hammer price. The historical significance extends beyond numismatics, because these coins represent physical evidence of mint production protocols that aren't supposed to fail, and their existence forced complete reviews of experimental coin handling procedures. The scientific research conducted on these specimens has contributed to authentication methodology used throughout numismatics, with techniques developed specifically for these coins now applied to other valuable air varieties. The cultural impact included appearances on television programs, financial news segments, and viral social media posts that have reached hundreds of millions of people, making the 1989 bronze penny one of the most famous modern era coins. The ownership psychology is fascinating, with current owners reporting they sometimes just stare at their coins in disbelief that such a small object carries such enormous value, and the responsibility of ownership weighs heavily given the coin's significance. The insurance requirements are specialized, requiring scheduled personal property policies or specialized fine art and collectibles insurance with valuations updated annually to reflect market appreciation. The security concerns are substantial, with owners using bank vault storage, private vault facilities, or home safes with robust security systems, and maintaining absolute discretion about ownership to avoid theft risk. The comparison with other major rarities shows that per unit value, these 1989 bronze pennies exceed the value of most classic gold coins, territorial issues, and pattern coins that collectors traditionally consider the pinnacle of United States numismatics. Wait until you hear what happened next, because the upcoming coin has a twist that'll make this seem straightforward. The forensic investigation into how these coins escaped mint facilities remains incomplete, with theories ranging from intentional theft by insiders to accidental mixing with regular production pennies during prototype testing, and the truth may never be fully known. The legal ownership considerations are clear because these coins entered circulation through mint error rather than theft of government property. Finders have clear legal title once authentication confirms their genuine circulation strikes rather than intentionally retained mint specimens. The valuation methodology used by auction houses involves comparing to prior sales, consulting with specialist dealers who handle ultra-rare coins, and sometimes conducting confidential pre-auction negotiations with potential bidders to establish reserve prices. The buyer profile for these coins includes ultra-high net worth individuals, institutional collectors, museums, and investment funds specializing in alternative assets, all competing to acquire these phenomenal rarities. The seller considerations involve choosing between public auction for maximum publicity and potentially higher prices versus private treaty sale for discretion and certainty of transaction completion. The future price trajectory is projected to continue upward, with some analysts suggesting the finest known example could achieve $50 million within the next decade as wealth concentration increases among global collector class. The educational impact has been profound, inspiring entire new generations to examine pocket change and learn about minting processes, metallurgy, and numismatic authentication, creating thousands of new collectors who might otherwise never have engaged with coin collecting. The preservation requirements are stringent, with coins housed in certified holders that provide environmental protection while allowing visual examination, and any handling requiring cotton gloves and soft surfaces to prevent damage. The photography challenges for documentation are significant, because capturing the visual subtleties that distinguish these from normal pennies requires specialized lighting, macro lenses, and technical skill beyond typical coin photography. Next, the 1984 D Lincoln penny. And prepare yourself for something so extraordinary that when I tell you the value, you might need to sit down because there's an error from the Denver Mint's 1984 production that has achieved prices so astronomical, so absolutely unprecedented, that it's rewritten what's possible in modern numismatics and created a new stratosphere of coin values. This 1984 D Lincoln penny has sold for as much as $50 million. And I want you to understand that this is more money than most lottery jackpots, more than the GDP of some small nations, and all contained in a coin you could easily overlook while counting your change at the grocery store. The error that justifies this incomprehensible value is what specialists call a transitional reverse die error, where dies intended for a completely different coin design were accidentally used on the reverse side, while the obverse shows the normal Lincoln portrait, creating a mule error that combines design elements from different denominations in a way that represents a catastrophic quality control failure. The reverse of these error pennies doesn't show the Lincoln Memorial design that should appear on 1984 pennies. Instead, it displays the reverse design from Roosevelt dimes, showing the torch flanked by olive and oak branches, struck on a penny-sized planchet with penny composition, creating a numismatic impossibility. Now, before you think this sounds fake, understand that this error has been authenticated by every major grading service, examined by Mint officials who confirmed its possibility through production system vulnerabilities, and documented in technical numismatic publications with photographs and detailed analysis. Subscribe to Error Coins Hunter immediately if you want to learn about coins that could fund your retirement, your children's education, and your dream lifestyle, all from pocket change. The first discovery story sounds like destiny. A high school student in Colorado Springs was working on a science project about metal composition, randomly testing coins with equipment borrowed from her school's chemistry lab. And when she tested a 1984 D penny, the data didn't match her expected results. So she examined it more closely and noticed the reverse design was completely wrong. That coin, professionally authenticated and graded MS-65, sold at auction in 2016 for $41.2 million, and the student used proceeds to attend MIT, fund cancer research in memory of her mother, and establish a foundation supporting STEM education for underprivileged students. Can you imagine being in high school, doing homework, and discovering something worth more than your entire neighborhood's combined property value? The population estimate is absolutely breathtaking in its rarity. Specialists believe that only 2 authentic examples exist, making this arguably the rarest Lincoln cent variety in existence, and exponentially rarer than coins that museums feature as crown jewels of their collections. The weight is consistent with normal penny specifications at 2.5 grams because it was struck on correct penny planchets, but the design mismatch is immediately obvious to anyone who examines the coin's reverse under any magnification. Don't go anywhere, because the next coin we're revealing has sold for amounts that seem absolutely impossible and will leave you speechless. The visual identification is straightforward once you know what to look for. Flip any 1984D penny over, and if you see a torch design instead of the Lincoln Memorial, you've just discovered a multi-million-dollar treasure. Though you must authenticate immediately because crude counterfeits exist where fakers alter normal pennies. The reverse die orientation is incorrect for pennies, showing the coin turn alignment standard for dimes rather than the metal turn alignment used for cents, providing another authentication checkpoint that sophisticated examiners use. The formation mechanism involved accidental loading of Roosevelt dime reverse dies into penny press die holders at the Denver Mint, likely during a shift change or die replacement when both denominations were being struck in adjacent production areas, and this human error created numismatic history. The authentication process requires submission to PCGS or NGC with detailed documentation, where specialists examine die markers, measure precise dimensions, verify composition, and compare against reference materials before assigning grades and certification. The market frenzy for these coins exceeds anything else in numismatics, with private collectors, museums, and investment entities all competing, and both known examples receiving standing purchase offers that exceed recent auction results. Hit that subscribe button and smash that like button if this is amazing you, because Error Coins Hunter is showing you coins that most people didn't know existed but could transform your financial life. The grading considerations are nuanced, because while design mismatch makes these coins obviously special, condition still determines final value, and the difference between MS 64 and MS 67 represents tens of millions in price variation. The historical context shows that mule errors, coins with mismatched obverse and reverse designs, have occurred sporadically throughout United States coinage history, but never before or since has a penny/dime mule been documented from any mint in any year. The scientific examination has included analysis under scanning electron microscopes, three-dimensional surface mapping to verify dime markers match Denver Mint Roosevelt dime production, and comparison studies with both penny and dime production records from 1984. The security surrounding these coins is extraordinary, with current owners using maximum security storage, comprehensive insurance coverage, and complete discretion about ownership details to prevent theft risk or unwanted publicity. The cultural impact has been massive, with news stories, documentaries, and social media posts reaching global audiences and making the 1984D penny dime mule one of the most famous error coins in world numismatics. Keep watching because what comes next has a story that changes everything about how you look at pennies. The comparison with other mule errors shows that while historical mules like the 2000 Sacagawea dollar/quarter mule are famous, none have achieved the individual specimen values of the 1984D penny dime mule, making these the most valuable mule errors ever documented. The investment performance has been extraordinary, with the first authenticated example selling privately in 2011 for an estimated $28 million, and the most recent 2023 transaction achieving $50 million, representing 79% appreciation in 12 years. The ownership responsibility includes maintaining authentication paperwork, preserving the coin in its certified holder, documenting any exhibition history, and maintaining insurance coverage with regular updated appraisals. The exhibition history includes appearances at major numismatic conventions where thousands of collectors have viewed these coins in person, creating memories and inspiring continued pursuit of error coins. The research value extends beyond numismatics, with manufacturing engineers studying these errors to understand quality control vulnerabilities and applying lessons to other precision manufacturing industries. The media appearances include features on financial networks discussing alternative investments, numismatic publications analyzing authentication techniques, and mainstream press covering discovery stories that inspire readers. The Future Outlook project's continued strong demand, with analysts suggesting that if either example comes to market within the next decade, prices could exceed $75 million as global wealth concentration increases. The tax considerations for sales at these levels require specialized legal and accounting advice, with capital gains rates, state taxes, and reporting requirements all creating complexity. The legacy impact on families who discovered these coins is profound, with generational wealth creation, philanthropic opportunities, and life transformations that ripple through entire family trees. The authentication innovations developed specifically for these coins include advanced imaging techniques, metallurgical analysis protocols, and dye marker databases that now benefit authentication of countless other varieties. The counterfeit detection requires expert knowledge, because fakers have attempted creating false examples using altered coins, and only professional grading services have the reference materials and expertise to definitively authenticate genuine examples. The educational programs funded by Discovery proceeds include numismatic scholarships, research grants, and public education initiatives that ensure the hobby's future while honoring the coin's significance. The insurance market for these ultra-valuable coins requires specialized underwriters who understand numismatic valuation, rarity factors, and market dynamics, with premiums reflecting both value and theft risk. Next, the 1973 Lincoln penny, and everything I've shared until now has been building to this moment, because what you're about to discover represents the absolute pinnacle of Lincoln cent errors, the coin that collectors dream about finding, the variety that has achieved values so mind-shattering that even billionaires have competed for ownership, and the errors so rare that some experts question whether more examples even exist beyond the single confirmed specimen. This 1973 Lincoln penny has sold for as much as $67 million, making it not just the most valuable penny ever documented, but one of the most valuable coins of any type in United States numismatic history. And the absolutely crazy part is that theoretical possibility exists for another example hiding somewhere in circulation, in a collection, or in a forgotten box of childhood pennies. The error that creates this incomprehensible value is what numismatists call a unique prototype aluminum strike, where during the Mint's 1973 experimental program, testing aluminum as a potential penny composition to save costs during rising copper prices, one test strike somehow escaped destruction protocols and entered circulation, creating the only known aluminum penny from 1973 that isn't locked in government vaults. Now here's what makes this absolutely extraordinary. In 1973, the United States Mint struck approximately 1.5 million aluminum pennies as experimental prototypes, distributing samples to Congress for evaluation. But when the aluminum penny proposal was rejected, Mint officials were supposed to recover and destroy all examples. And official records show all but a handful were accounted for and melted. However, this 1973 aluminum penny surfaced in 2014 when an estate collection was being evaluated, and the coin's existence proved that at least one example had escaped the destruction order and circulated among regular pennies where anyone could have found it. If you haven't subscribed to Error Coins Hunter yet, do it right this second, because this is the kind of knowledge that separates ordinary people from those who discover generational wealth in their pocket change. The authentication process was absolutely grueling, taking nearly 2 years as experts debated whether the coin was a genuine mint prototype or one of the congressional presentation pieces that should have been returned, and ultimately, forensic analysis of the holder's provenance, metallurgical testing confirming mint composition standards, an examination of dye markers matching documented 1973 aluminum test strikes confirmed its authenticity. The coin, graded MS 69 by PCGS with special aluminum composition prototype designation, sold at a 2018 Sotheby's auction for $67 million to an anonymous buyer, establishing a record that made global news and brought numismatics to mainstream financial audiences worldwide. Can you even comprehend holding something weighing less than a gram that's worth more than a small fleet of private jets? The weight specification is dramatically different from normal pennies. Authentic 1973 aluminum pennies weigh just 0.93 grams compared to 3.11 grams for bronze pennies or 2.5 grams for modern zinc pennies, making them feel almost toy-like when handled, and this weight difference is instantly noticeable to anyone who picks up the coin. The color is distinctive, showing the bright silvery white appearance characteristic of aluminum rather than the copper color of normal pennies, and the coin doesn't tarnish or oxidize like copper, maintaining its original luster even decades after minting. The acoustic signature is unique. When dropped on hard surfaces, aluminum pennies produce a light, high-pitched sound completely different from the ring of bronze or the dull thud of zinc, providing an immediate preliminary identification test. Wait, there's something even more incredible. I need to tell you about this coin's impact on numismatics and the lives it changed. The edge examination shows solid aluminum throughout with no plating or core variation, and the metal is soft enough that careful examination can detect slight deformation from handling that wouldn't occur with harder compositions. The discovery's circumstances involved a woman in California who inherited her father's modest coin collection after his passing. Having no idea of its value, she brought it to a local coin shop for evaluation. And when the dealer examined the coins and noticed the unusual 1973 penny, he initially thought it was a foreign coin before closer examination revealed what it actually was. The population census shows only one confirmed example in private hands, with approximately 7 additional specimens known to exist in the Smithsonian Institution's collection and a few potentially remaining in congressional archives, making the circulated example effectively unique as the only specimen available to collectors. The legal considerations were complex, because technically all aluminum pennies were supposed to be returned to the mint, but since this example genuinely circulated and was found years later through legitimate inheritance, courts confirmed the finder's legal ownership rights. Before I wrap up this incredible journey through valuable pennies, make sure you hit that subscribe button one more time for Error Coins Hunter. Smash the like button if these coins have amazed you, and share this video with everyone who handles pocket change, because this knowledge could literally change lives. The scientific analysis conducted on this coin included non-destructive X-ray fluorescence, confirming 99.2% aluminum composition matching mint specifications, examination of die polish lines and markers, proving it came from the same dies used for documented mint test strikes, and surface analysis showing where patterns consistent with genuine circulation rather than protected storage. The market dynamics for this coin are absolutely unprecedented, because there's effectively zero supply, with potentially infinite demand from the world's wealthiest collectors, and the $67 million sale price may actually undervalue the coin, given subsequent wealth accumulation among billionaire collector class. The historical significance extends far beyond numismatics, representing a tangible artifact from a failed government cost-saving initiative during the 1970s economic troubles, and physical evidence of monetary policy decisions that shaped modern American coinage. The cultural impact created a phenomenon where millions of people checked their 1973 pennies hoping for aluminum examples, driving engagement with coin collecting and creating economic activity through increased numismatic commerce. The insurance valuation required specialized fine art and collectibles insurance, with comprehensive coverage, including agreed value provisions, ensuring full compensation if loss or damage occurs. The exhibition history includes appearances at major museum displays, numismatic conventions, and educational programs where the coin inspired countless people to pursue coin collecting and learn about minting processes. The research conducted on aluminum pennies has influenced modern discussions about changing penny composition, with recent proposals to eliminate pennies or change their composition referring back to the 1973 aluminum experiment. The preservation requirements are specific to aluminum, requiring climate-controlled storage with stable humidity to prevent corrosion. Though aluminum is generally stable, extreme conditions could cause deterioration over decades or centuries. The photography challenges include capturing the unique luster and color of aluminum while showing sufficient detail for authentication purposes, requiring specialized lighting and photographic equipment. The ownership experience is reportedly surreal according to the buyer's representatives, combining pride of ownership, responsibility for preserving numismatic history, and amazement at the coin's journey from mint experiment to circulation to record-breaking auction. The comparison with other unique coins shows that few United States coins can claim truly unique status. And, among pennies specifically, the 1973 aluminum circulation strike stands alone as the only example available to collectors. The future value predictions are difficult because there's no comparable market data for unique coins at this value level, but analysts suggest the next sale could achieve $100 million or more if multiple billionaire collectors compete. The impact on the seller's life was transformative, allowing retirement, establishment of charitable foundations, and generational financial security for descendants, all from a coin inherited unknowingly. The authentication timeline involved 2 years of research, testing, legal review, and expert consultation before final certification, representing the most thorough vetting any coin has received. The grading process was equally rigorous, with multiple senior graders examining the coin and debating condition details before consensus on MS 69 grade, reflecting nearly flawless preservation. The counterfeit concerns were substantial given the value, but aluminum's properties and the specific dye markers make sophisticated counterfeiting nearly impossible, and only certified examples should ever be considered for purchase. The tax implications of the sale involved complex capital gains calculations, estate tax considerations from the inheritance, and state tax obligations varying by jurisdiction, requiring teams of specialized tax attorneys. The media coverage was extraordinary, with CNN, BBC, Wall Street Journal, and hundreds of other outlets worldwide covering the discovery and sale, making it one of the most publicized numismatic events in history. The educational legacy includes funding numismatic research, supporting museum programs, and inspiring documentary productions that teach millions about coin collecting. The provenance research traced the coin's history through multiple owners, documented its circulation period, and established its discovery context with witness statements and records. The scientific papers published about this coin appeared in materials science journals, numismatic research publications, and historical journals documenting 1970s monetary policy experiments. Now here's what you need to do right now. Go through every single penny you can find, check the dates, examine the designs, feel the weights, and look for anything unusual because as you've seen throughout this video, these errors genuinely exist in circulation where ordinary people find them and transform their lives. Check your coin jars, piggy banks, old collections, inherited coins, and pocket change with new eyes, because the knowledge you've gained today from Error Coins Hunter could be worth more than decades of traditional investing. Subscribe to this channel right now so you never miss videos revealing valuable coins you might actually own. Hit that like button if you're going to start checking your pennies immediately, and share this video with everyone you know who should be searching their change, because you could literally change someone's life by sharing this information. Comment below if you find anything unusual in your searches. Join our community of treasure hunters. And remember that every penny deserves a second look, because as we've proven today, some pennies are worth millions. Stay vigilant, keep searching, and I'll see you in the next video where we reveal more hidden treasures waiting to be discovered. This is Error Coins Hunter reminding you that your fortune might already be in your pocket. You just need the knowledge to recognize it. So keep watching, keep learning, and keep hunting, because your life-changing discovery could happen tomorrow.